Alright, so today's video, we're watching a Bronze 1 Kiriko on PC. I'm just gonna read the description of this game here. This game was absolutely horrible. Wow, this is a good start. I feel like we could have won, but we had a DPS who had barely any damage compared to the others, and a tank that had damage but just ran it down. The tank did not play in LOS sometimes and stood around payload where all of my Ofutas would break once they touched. My other support had low heals, but did make aggressive plays for the team to push forward on. I only had one good DPS player and myself. I had quite a few good headshots, 7.7k damage, 31% crit hit accuracy, and 37% hit accuracy. Wow, we got the whole stats here. I personally think I should at least get above Silver 3. Please spectate and tell me what I need to improve on. So, just to summarize here, we have your DPS player is bad according to you, your tank does a lot of damage but doesn't play tank the way that you want them to play tank, and you think you should be Silver 3. Just to summarize here. All right, we'll see how this goes. Also, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment. All of it helps. All right, let's see how it goes. And they're currently in Bronze 1, so they said they should be at least Silver 3. Wow, that Mauga really is... Wow. Okay, we're up to a start now. Well, I can see where you got your 7.7k damage from and crit damage when there's a Mauga running in a straight line down mid, not letting go of their button. I can see where the damage is being farmed. Holy crap. This is the classic holding this corner, which... It goes again to, like, I talk about how it's always interesting when we watch, like, different ranks, because, like, I never see it be held here, but I also understand why. Because, like, it makes sense. You hold close, you do all that. You're not going to use your high ground as well, so it works, and I don't even question it. It's like, I think it's okay for, like, you know, some ranks to have different strategies, etc. You know what I mean? Because, like, I even though, like, I would recommend you play high ground here, if your teammates are all down here and you're all playing together, like, why, you know, I'm not even going to say go use high ground, because if your team's here and you're playing like this, I mean, heck it, you know? Why not, right? You know what I mean? Not bad. Said frontline Kiriko. I feel like Kiriko can frontline way more than any other hero, though, because, like, you can just swift step out. And you're like, yeah, but they can follow up. Yeah, on your, you know, 2-second cooldown. Here we go. I will say, you are hitting some good shots. Why is Kiriko playing the tank role? Because Kiriko's tankier than a tank, so it makes sense. I mean, you could argue that some roles... I mean, not some roles. All the other roles are tankier than tanks right now. So. Yeah. Did good shots on static targets. Yeah, but at least they're hitting them. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, so far everything seems fine. Like, you talk about, like, your other DPS, etc., but, like, I guess I don't... So far everything's been fine. You said this game was horrible. The first 2.5 minutes has been fine, which doesn't mean the game can't get worse. It's just... Okay.
Thanks for the boost.
Nice. Good job. Talking about the aim, and the aim can happen though. Like, it's... I do like the way Kiriko's projectile speed is, and I think that's also what makes Kiriko so fun. Is, like, the projectile speed. I also love this Mauga's commitment to, like, just walking in a straight line and do damage to everybody. Yeah, I'm not... You said decent play for Bronze so far? Oh, yeah, I'm not saying anything on... I think it's been... From a mechanical point of view, been pretty good. I'm not even, like... No, we're good on that so far. Right? I'm not even worried about that. Oh, well, they go, do not save your mercy in there for yet. Uh-oh. Worked out, never mind. No one even looked at you except the Mauga. You might be able to heal your tank, but, like, I think, yeah, you fell behind. You fell behind on heals there, and that was that. Right, good job doing that. I wonder if you're gonna... Now, one thing I'm curious on here, and maybe it's just... Oh, wait, you know, now that we've kind of seen how this game has started, what I love about this, I love how you gave us that stat line to talk about like your crit accuracy and how much damage you did. When like this kind of also shows you from a stats point of view, where like you can explain those stats and like without any context, right? Like I can be like, okay, that sounds like a good game. Like, you farmed 7.7k damage, you did crit accuracy, all of this. And then you watch the game, and I go, I see exactly where you farmed that stat. You farmed it on a Mauga, who has been running at you in a straight line consistently, and giving you crit damage in general, like the whole time. So, I see the context of the stats, and that's why sometimes I say the stats doesn't necessarily speak for the game. Because, like, you have spent the majority farming the Mauga, maybe your teammates have been, like, shooting at other targets, and they're not getting that same type of, like, thing. Now, you could argue, if everybody shoots at the Mauga, you're going to get a bunch of limbs, but at the same time, like, sometimes your teammate has to take a 1v1 on the outside. So, that's why sometimes the stats can be interesting on that one. Like, I can play a Soldier 76 game against Roadhog and finish with 22,000 damage, but I might have 10 limbs because, like, I'm just shooting a hog. Not a bad Kitsune. I don't mind this. I think I don't know if you meant to cleanse your feet, but that might get your Mauga, not your Mauga, your Ramatra killed. Your Mauga. Not your Mauga. I keep saying your Mauga. The Ramatra. Get your Ramatra healed up, please. So when you pop Kitsune, I know you want to sit there and do a bunch of damage. And I know your Ramatra's a little bit kind of like taking more damage, but like one thing that's like beneficial about Kitsune is you have the ability to really pump in the heals to keep your teammate alive. So those 3 times you decided you wanted to try to go for a Balkan Mercy out of all of the heroes, like instead of just like throwing cleanse at Ramatra, healing him up to full and giving your Ramatra, which actually might have resulted in you just winning the game because you have a Kitsune on point, one of the best, if not best, ultimates in the game. Like, sometimes, like, even though it's fun to sit there and just, like, shoot at them and do that, like, I think the best thing for you is just get your Ramatra up and you probably just win that team fight, or at least give yourself a chance. Instead, you throw a Suzu at your feet, you try to damage a Valk Mercy, your Ramatra never gets caught up to full HP, and then you lose the team fight. I'm not saying you win the team fight guaranteed, but I think you definitely didn't give yourself the best chance to win that. You said I called Kitsune the best ult in the game, like Genji Blade doesn't exist. I can say without a doubt that Kitsune is a better ultimate than Genji Blade. Without fail. I don't even question it. Blade is not... I would say Blade is in, like, that B tier. I mean, I just made a whole tier list on ultimates. I say that like I didn't just make a tier list on that. Kitsune is by far better than Blade. It doesn't even come close. Blade is a good ultimate, but not... Kitsune is just unreal. Kitsune is just an unreal ultimate, so... Alright, here we go. Here we go.
Out the dig site.
I have a question for you, because you mentioned like how your tank was out of LOS. Why aren't you adjusting your position in 2 to kind of work with where your Ramatra was? Because you mentioned like, oh, my Ramatra would go on the other side of the cart, and like, okay, you know, I can see your Ramatra going on the other side of the cart, and like, you know, it can happen, it takes time, like, you know, it doesn't go perfect, etc. Like, that's fine, right? It happens. But like, your Ramatra's there for a while, and your decision making is to sit back at like the furthest range possible where you need like a telescope. Yes, your Ramatra's a little bit out of position, but your team also has an advantage at this point, right? So like, let's say that you teleport to the left of the cart, they're not going to be able to follow up on you. The reason why the Ramatra is taking this position, right, is because they're in an actually pretty safe spot. Now they overextend, etc., but you can go up to like here and keep your team alive and you're fine. But instead you decide like, I'm just going to play back and then just say, oh, what are you doing? Why are you there? Well, you had plenty of time to readjust your positioning to kind of make up for like... to kind of make up for what they were doing. You at no point did you even like move up aggressively here. You played back. Like, what's your decision here? You gonna play back here? Like, you're already gonna get either rolled here. You backed up the whole way. You got to give your teammates a chance sometimes, like to win that team fight. That went from being a possibility of winning the team fight because you already had an early pick to you just running away. Everyone else in your team was like, hey, I'm gonna try and stop the cart, and then you just fell back. And you're like, yeah, it's gonna be my DPS and my tank, but like, you're going to have to make adjustments too sometimes. You can't expect your tank to always be in the best position. This goes from bronze to top 500, and you can't expect yourself to always be in the best position. So, like, you need to find ways to go and help make that play. I think you had plenty of opportunity to make a play there. Also, your Suzus have been a little bit off at times.
Underestimated me, Ned.
It's kind of tough. You feel like the Kiriko would die there. You know, I can see that side of the argument, but like it's all situational, right? I'm not saying that you TP in there every single time to go and save. You're like, don't TP in now. There's no point. Your mind was dead, right? But like when you have an opportunity and your teammates in at least a decent spot with their positioning, you don't need to back away 8,000 meters and then be mad at your tank. Like your tank can do that, right? It wasn't like the tank was in their backline behind 5 walls. Their tank was on the cart. And keep in mind, I'm not saying it's going to result in a perfect. Like a perfect like result for your team. Like what Kitsune. Kitsune should be out 5 seconds ago.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
I love that Valk. Match's HP is gonna go down.
Be resplendent. Soothing your wounds.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just gonna pause here because I don't want to see what we're gonna see what the rest of the result is in this game. I'm starting to think like I think sometimes you're misunderstanding how good the TP Suzu strat is, especially when like you have an advantage. And once again, this is not an everything like always go in and do this play. It's very situational, and I think this can also be like a helpful tip for climbing. You need to find a way to make like a decisive decision here, and you would see this probably happen in a top 500 game. You just TP in, you throw your Suzu at the floor, it's going to be enough burst heals to keep your Ramatra alive and just win the team fight, especially when you have a numbers advantage. But instead, your decision making is just to stand like you're playing Ana across the map and be like, oh, well, my tank's out of position. Like, I want you to look at like the number advantage you have here and what that would result in. Your Ramatra doesn't die, you're going to be fine. Like, yeah, but what if they get me on that? I'm telling you right now, you can wall climb over here, go up in the wall. You have been surviving against them the whole game. You're going to be fine. They're not going to get you. But instead, you play the distance, and I'm not saying you're going to lose the team fight, but I'm just showing you like where you're kind of not. Like now you don't. I think you should win this. I don't think you lose this here, but like I would prefer to you go in there, keep your Ramatra up, and you just guarantee winning. And you've done that a few times, right? So this is bronze, yes. Yeah, it feels like to me so far, it's not even like a mechanical issue with you, like your movement, your aim, etc. It doesn't feel like that. To me, it feels like it's more just like you're afraid to go in and help people, even if they're a little bit out of position, like slightly. And you just like you're like more in the idea of like, oh well, if they're out of position, I can just tell them in chat, go into a spot that's better. And I'm not saying that you know you can do that, but you're also playing Kiriko. If you're playing Ana, it might be a different story, right? You got to be like, listen, tank, I can't keep up with you. Right? Like, I just can't keep up with the pace that you're going or, like, the position you're going. I want you to look where I'm at. But you're playing Kiriko. You have plenty of... You don't even have to teleport to the tank. You can teleport to a teammate on the opposite side just to be in a position to be able to heal them better, right? My point is that you're playing Kiriko. Kiriko gives you more opportunity to go and do that. I think as Kiriko, you really can use your mobility and your cooldowns to really change a team fight. And I feel like right now you're almost playing, like, your Kiriko style is either you go up in front and try to farm a tank for damage, or you play further back than an Ana does. And yes, and technically, obviously, the closer you are, the quicker you'll get the heals up on your teammate. Yep. Because obviously the travel time with the Ofudas. Or, well, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
The sunlight soothes.
Yeah, you have the right idea. You have the right idea. I thought you were going to TP in. I mean, they're in a good position. Honestly, though, I will say, it's probably fine you didn't TP. But now's like your timing. Go to your mercy. Go to like your backline now. I mean, I'll give you the off angle for now. There we go. I knew that was gonna happen. Eventually, you were gonna have the TP back. At least you finally TP'd back.
Be careful, Shimada.
Johnny Salami, thanks for the 3 months. Thank you, appreciate it. Classic rundown mid strat. Yep. You know, I feel like in that spot, just not using cleanse on your feet or TPing immediately, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I can see why you wouldn't be able to, like, hit the button right away there. Like, you don't expect that. Sometimes, like, you can just take a bunch of burst damage. Like, yeah, you could have used your Swift Step or Suzu, but I'll give you that one. You know what I mean?
Soothing your wounds.
I'll give you that one. Now you can TP. TP. Okay, so I'm starting to see your problem that you're running into. You're not, like, you have, like, this mindset that, like, if you TP in, your tank is going to get you killed. But, like, I don't think you really take into account the map control and the positioning. Like, if your wrist is right here and you TP, let me ask you a question. What is the chance that they get you here? Like, what is the chance there's follow-up on you that absolutely destroys you? This is an advantageous TP for you because look at what they have to do to overextend to get these limbs. So, and I know, oh, my wrist can spawn right there, but, like, you're not, this is what I mean. You're like, oh, by the way, my Arisa's going out of position, but, like, you're playing a hero that has the mobility to save your tank. Kiriko has that. You're not playing Ana, right? So there's a very rare chance they get you here. So was it on cooldown? I can look. Maybe I'm wrong.
Soothing your wounds.
Nope, you're good. Nope. There's about a 2-second difference, and at the very worst, you can throw a Suzu off the wall. I don't look at that. I think you just TP in and you Suzu. And then look what they're at. Your only person here is a Hanzo. You're gonna keep your teammates alive with a Suzu. Chat knows this. How many times do you watch me play and a Kiriko TP's in, Suzu's the floor, and then I just go, aw. It happens all the time. But you need to like, you also sometimes need to make these plays because I think sometimes players, I don't know if this is the best way to explain stuff, but sometimes you need to go and make these plays to see that these plays work. Sometimes if you play too safe, you actually won't know if a play is going to work because you're looking at this going, oh, my tank's behind the cart, and if I TP there and they're taking damage, they're going to roll me. But sometimes it's okay to like TP in there and just like make the play and then go, wow, that worked. And then you go, okay, in this situation, I can do that. And that's how you kind of learn from those like things. And then there could be a TP where you TP and you go, nope, that wasn't the play. But at least you make those plays. Right now, you're not, risk reward, limit test, and you're not even giving yourself that opportunity. You're playing almost way too safe at times. And I'm not saying you're playing bad. I'm saying I think you're playing way too safe at times. You're not willing to go and like, you're even there, like I can see what you're doing. Like with Iana, like you're like, okay, I'm going to play this angle. Like, your Iana's fine. And like, obviously, Ryan was in there. But like, I think you're almost playing too safe at times. And when you play too safe sometimes in Overwatch, you end up in this default style that becomes so reliant on teammates that if you're not willing to make a play or willing to make a play to keep your teammates alive, then you're playing a very default play style that's you're gonna have games where like you'll find yourself going 50-50 because you're so reliant on this Hanzo going up there and making a play. But as Kiriko, you have so much playmaking ability. There you go, nice, like that. See that? And this is an example of what I'm talking about. Do you see how you were willing to kind of like move a little bit more forward here and make a play? Like, do you see that? How you were willing to go up there and take a little bit of position? And look what you did. You went and made a play, right? That was a great play. Getting a little bit aggressive. Yeah, guess what could have happened? That Hanzo could have headshot you, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that Hanzo could have headshot you. But you still peeked the corner and you still healed them up and you were good to go. You see what I'm saying? How, like, even though that, you know, you're in a good spot here, technically that is still a risk play. It's not the highest risk play. Like, it's probably more reward than risk at that point, right? But you were willing to go step up and do that. Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I think chat's talked a little bit about like you can wall climb more and stuff. Sometimes I try not to give them, and I don't know if like this is the right approach sometimes, but this is maybe it's because of how I like to learn stuff. Sometimes if I get like loaded with like a ton of information, it's almost like an information overload. So sometimes when I do spectating series, I need to start with very basic things that can be fixed. And then other small things like, oh, I want you to go and wall climb more and go do this and go do that and go do this and go do that. Like I feel like sometimes you need to get people through the basics of how you want to do something rather than giving them 20 different things to work on. So like, yes, could you wall climb more? Absolutely. You know, great. But I think sometimes that information overload that you can have is like, if I tell them go do these 25 different things, like sometimes you might work on too much or you might try to improve in those areas while not improving on the areas that like you're already good at. So I like to look for a few small things that you can like work on and then go from there and then you go to the next step, right? And that's also why we have the Where Are They Now series. So like if for some reason like they find themselves struggling in 4 months and they want to resubmit a VOD again, we have the Where Are They Now series where we can kind of take the next step on that one. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. That's how I approach it for myself. Granted, some people might love that, right? Some people might love, hey, give me a list of 30 things and that's great.
We must move the payload.
I think what I've seen with this Kiriko is they just play too safe sometimes, and they're not willing to go. Like, you're basically playing a hero that's known for, like, really good mobility and cooldowns, and you're just basically going, like, right here, technically this isn't the... Technically, this is a risk-reward play, but you see how you're doing this and the value you're getting? Go apply this same type of play to, like, your tank, keeping him alive. Do you see? Keep in mind, if you TP to save your tank, right? If you TP to save your tank, you're in a very similar position you are there, right?
Let the kitsune guide you. Your wounds run deep.
You know what? I was gonna maybe talk about the Kitsune, but I'm actually okay with it.
Warm inside.
I don't mind aggressive Kitsunes. And your tank was, you weren't gonna keep your tank alive there.
Let me balance you out.
I know, I agree. That's why I didn't really... Yeah, exactly. Not aggro enough on that one. That's why I'm saying, that's why that... Okay, your tank's out of position. That's... Okay, now, I do want to point this out because I've given you examples of, like, okay, this was not good. That was a good play not going in there to save your tank. That is your tank out of position, okay? Do you see what I'm saying, though? That is an example of you can't keep your tank alive, you wouldn't want to TP in there. That is an example of don't go in there, right? Now, let's say that your tank is over here, and they're playing here. You can TP to your tank because you have a safety net of, like, this angle. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, like, I want to kind of show you examples of, like, what would be a bad TP and what would be a good TP. I need to show you those examples because I don't want you just to TP in every time. And that's an example of, like, yeah, you ain't saving your Orisa there. That ain't happening, right? So that was a good choice, not the TP, but you've made the choice never to TP into your team, and that's been the problem. Mega Man, thanks for the 65 months of the Swedish Press. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, here we go.
Be careful, Shimada.
Yep, you're on. I'm gonna be honest with you, I wasn't even looking for your Ana, but your Ana just got rolled by a Moira Orb, and we'll just leave it at that. Honestly, I wasn't even looking. Okay. Back away. Cleanse, 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 cleanse.
No excuses now.
Okay. I need to, like, I need to pause for a second because the counter argument from people will be like, oh, well, they cleansed the people that got shattered. You know, hot take, I don't even think you get to the point of that shatter getting any value if you just cleanse your teammate. So, like, that is a situation where you mentioned your tank was doing this and that. Why aren't you Suzu in your tank there? Because when you Suzu your tank there, now your Orisa can play the game. Will be able to use their cooldown rotation to make it really hard for the Rein. But instead, your decision is just to sit there and Suzu a shatter later on. But you're like, look how much damage your Orisa took. Like, did you see what I'm saying? How, like, you're not even giving yourself an opportunity to win the game. Like, at that point, like, you're playing it too safe. Like, that Suzu should be out in your tank, and your Orisa should be displacing that Rein. Now, if you Suzu them and your Orisa decides they want to save their gold and they get shattered, etc., that's a different story. But you're not even giving your teammates a chance. And that's what I've been talking about this whole time. You need to give your teammates a chance to be able to win these games. And right now, you're playing that safe style that's so reliant on your teammates having to play perfect that if you can't... When you play a hero like Kiriko that can also help alleviate some of the mistakes that your teammates are making, and you're not even using the ability to do that, that's not... You're not playing it right at that point, at that time, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's why That's why, like... The main advice I'm trying to give you here is, like, I want you to start taking a little bit more risk-reward plays, and you're going to start to understand that you can do a lot more than what you're doing rather than playing Ana Kiriko. I'm not saying you're playing... When I say Ana Kiriko, I'm not saying... Okay. And this is what I mean. Like, I can already see it. Why'd you Suzu your Orisa there, right? Let me ask you a question, chat. Let's say that Orisa and Hanzo are next to each other, okay? And they both get purpled. How long is that lasting for? If the Orisa and the Hanzo get purpled, how long is that lasting for? Yeah. So, like, let me ask you this question. Now, obviously, you have the tank passive that changed things up too. Let's say your Orisa gets slept. Are you gonna try to waste your Suzu on Orisa to, like, wake up a sleeping Orisa? No, because the Orisa gets up quicker on those cooldowns, right? So the point I'm making is like, there's zero reason to Suzu your tank over here when they're gonna be fine. The purple's gonna fall off quickly. They don't have to do that. So I've watched you never use a Suzu on a tank when they need it, and then I watch you use a Suzu on a Orisa at 85% HP with their cooldowns away from their whole team. And that's what I want you to get you in the mindset of, like, you play so safe that, like, it's almost like you have, like, a default play style of, like, Orisa's purple, I'm gonna Suzu them. They have this, I'm gonna Suzu them. Anything else, I'm not saving them, I'm playing it safe. I'm just trying to get you in the mindset of, like, I don't want you to play as safe as you are. Yes! There we go!
I thought you were the sniper.
Right there. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what the play is going to be. You have no clue. Your information is limited right there. But you still teleport to your Orisa, you save them, you get in the limb, and now you have a good result. Do you see this? Do you see the difference? You get what I'm saying? That was a good play and an example of what you could do way more of. I know it took a while for them to TP, but it's more about talking to them or showing them that, like, this is an example of a good play. It doesn't have to be an immediate reaction. It's always good, and in my opinion, when we're doing these spectatings, to show the good plays and the bad plays, because you need to be able to know when you're making a good play. I can tell you all day long to teleport to your Orisa, but I need to show you examples of when it's a good TP and when it isn't. I'm just glad you finally made a play there without even relying on, like, the information of what's going on. You just went up there and you saved him. And it was a great play. Wonderful. Love to see it. Now, you have a numbers advantage. You have a 4v3. Actually, you have a 4v2. So what you're going to want to do is you want to go out main, save your teammate now, bottom left, that you see is low. Wait a little bit, and then I want you to Kitsune right in. Just no when you do not wait on this Kitsune. Just use it. Ready? Right now. Go. Ready card. Use it. Suzu. Suzu. Not Suzu, I meant a Kitsune. Kitsune. Let's use that Kitsune. Kitsune. You had a numbers advantage. You keep that going. You don't give a map control. Kitsune. Let's get that Kitsune going. There we go. Okay, that was about 8 seconds too late. I'm fine with a clench. You get another one in the end of it. It's fine. Okay, now you've been distracted. You're now officially distracted. You stop looking at your Orisa. Your Orisa's probably going to get rolled. Go with your Orisa. Go to your Orisa. Don't worry about the diva. Go to your Orisa. Okay, wonderful. Sweet. And there we go again. So you played it way too safe. You see? You see how I'm like calling out these plays that you need to do? Or like that you could do in that situation, and your decision was to play it in the middle, play it safe, and then you lose your Orisa? I hate to break it to you. If you go up there and save your Orisa, this game's over. Well, sorry. Anything can happen in these games. Your chances of winning increase by about 50%. I say increase by 50%, not 50%. Like, it increases from, like, wherever it was before. Instead, you sit in the middle, you don't do anything, you just wait, your Ana is fine in the back line, and you let your Orisa die. Now they have an advantage, you lose your tank, they're going to have numbers coming from spawn. I have no idea what's going on back here, but that Hanzo's ready to come back, and now you're probably going to lose the team fight. Do you see, though? How, like, you have played so safe that you're so reliant on your teammates making these, like plays, and then you're so hard focused on, like, oh, my tank is slightly inconveniencing me behind the cart, and I have to move 2 feet to my right, and that's unacceptable. You see what I'm saying? And that's why, like, when you hard focus so much on things like, oh, I had 7,000 damage with 31% crit accuracy that I farmed at the beginning of the game against a Mauga, what are my teammates doing? You know, I feel like this game should already be won by your team. I know you talked about, oh, one of my DPS wasn't doing anything. I mean, I haven't even... I don't even worry about that right now. There's so much more involved in this game that the last thing I'm worried about is one of your DPS. Because you've been in so many situations to win. You know what? It's funny because that right there, by the way, with your cleanse, was actually a risk-reward play not to wake up your teammate, but I felt like it was a good play. I actually think that was a good play not to wake him. That was good. Risk-reward, and you can save them if they get hit by a shot. Chris is dead. And you know, that's an interesting one. I'll kind of teleport in. Your team. Okay. Oh, this is what I mean. I feel like you were so afraid to make a play that, like, I need you to understand what's going on here. You have a soldier in the back line who's flanking with an Ana. Your teammates have a good position. Now, the risk reward of this play is you TP in, you lose the team fight, right? The reward, you save your Soldier 76 with a Suzu TP play, you save your Ana, everybody survives, everybody here gets rolled, you win the team fight. Okay? But what's the reward of what you're doing here? Wonderful. You killed a Moira, and your teammates lost the team fight with 15 seconds left, and you have Kitsune. Do you see this? So rather than with 20 seconds left, TPing in a situation where you need to win, you just sit there. And then you're like, oh, it's my teammates. You see what I'm saying? Kitsune. You don't Kitsune. The card has to move, so you know you need to go to the right side. So instead, you die to a devo. But then, like, this is where I talk about where, like, people get so hard focused on, oh, look at my stats, look at, like, what's going on, oh, my tank is out of position. Yes, your tank has played a little bit aggro at times. But your tank hasn't played, like, in their spawn backline aggro. Your tank has played, I'm going to create space for my team, and as long as my teammates can keep me up here, we're fine. And you play it so safe. It's just like... For me, it's just, it feels like you're not willing to make too many aggressive plays. And you play so safe. And I'll explain, I think, like, I mean, we already kind of explained a lot of it, but...
I don't give up that easily. The kitsune is ready.
Actually, you know what the best part is? They might even be able to get back here on Kitsune still, which is hilarious, because you can TP from here. Watch, 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 watch. Yep. All right, here we go. It's happening. Great, they... I can't believe this is still going. Did they win this? Nice shot. Good shots there. I feel like you wasted your Suzu initially. Not the second one. Second Suzu was good. First one was just, I don't even get it. Okay, so you did lose that game. Okay, so just to talk about this very quickly, because I obviously chat knows where I'm going to go with this. Yeah, your number one issue in this game, by the way, like just straight up, your number one issue that I saw you do, right, was that you were never willing to make a play. You played so safe, and you were so like adamant about talking about like your stats and like, oh, my DPS wasn't doing anything and my tank was playing too aggro. No, you were playing too safe. I'm not saying your teammates are playing perfect, but you played too safe, and you said that you should be in Silver 3. You want my take? Mechanically, absolutely, you could be in Silver. But your decision making and the way that you're playing, I think you need to improve on that before you get that steady climb. That's where I feel like the mechanically absolutely could be in Silver. But like right now, I feel like you need to make better decisions on what you're doing and be willing to make more of these risk-reward plays to help your team, because I really think you're going to see much more positive results. And I'm not saying that I could give you this advice right now. You could go TP 3 times into your tank and get rolled 3 times, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to make those plays consistently. You need to see those plays happen and see why they're recommended as pretty good plays to save your teammates, and you'll be in a good spot, right? Yeah, well, exactly. I can see what you're saying where there's more reward there. So I think for you, I want you to look at this game, see the places where you could have TP'd in, apply that knowledge, and then see where you go from there. Mechanically, you were hitting shots. You had an idea of what you wanted to do. And also, please stop holding Kitsune for an hour and a half. I want to point this out again, and I bring this up from time to time. Kitsune benefits everyone. And I want you to think about when you play against a Kitsune, how frustrating it is, because it's so hard to play against. You have the best ultimate in the game next to, like, EMP. If you have that ultimate and you have numbers, heck, you could be in a 3v4. That ultimate, just use it, and I want you to see how good of results you have. Okay? I want you to see, I think you're going to see much more positive results just using Kitsune than waiting for the perfect Kitsune. You're going to probably, let's say right now on average, you're using 4 Kitsunes a game. If you just start using them, you're probably going to get 7 a game that you're going to use. I'm not even kidding you, because you can build your ultimate so fast as Kiriko. So, lot to work on. There's positives here, but I want you to really work on that stuff, and I think you'll climb. Anyway, sorry, I went kind of in depth on that one. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't, leave a comment, all of those help. If you want to submit your own replay, all of that, look in the description below. You'll see my Discord. That's where you'll do that. We also record these live on stream. You can see the Twitch chat right below the webcam. Stop by if you haven't. We have a lot of fun here. With that being said, hope you have an amazing day/night.